Welcome, Engineers, to another Junkyard Juggernauts overview video. Today we're going to be talking about charges. It's one of those elements of Junkyard Juggernauts that it can be a little hard to get your head around if you're just reading the instructions. But I think once you sort of see it, see how things go, it's a bit easier to understand. And you might even be able to realize, oh, that's a good strategy, or oh, that's how that's used. Okay, so first off, what are charges? How do you get charges? So, well, if you play as Hobart, you actually start off with a charge. So charges are indicated by these translucent cubes that are sort of matched to the color of each Juggernaut, or in the case of Junk Golems, i.e. the Warlord, you get a red blood charge token. But in the case of Hobart, you start off with a charge. All the other characters, you have to earn them by doing a heroic feat. So let's say Saffron here. I'll move all these off. We'll be going with Saffron. Saffron. Let's move these. And this one. Okay, so we got Saffron here. And let's say she just beat a Junk Golem, she destroyed it, or maybe she completed a quest heroically, so she gets a heroic feat. All right, when you get a heroic feat, you get to pick a specialization. We'll be talking about all these specializations in another video, but for now, just know that you get a specialization. It starts off at the bomb level, and you always, whether or not you unlock the abilities that are these different sections on the card on either this side or down at the bottom, whether or not you unlock those, because that's based on what elements you have built in your Juggernaut, you will always get these center items. So like for the first heroic feat, you'll get 1 charge and 2 medals. Second heroic feat, 1 charge and 1 amplify. And these are different based on the specialization. But so we'll get that effect. So Saffron, if she just earned her heroic feat and she chose the Mystic specialization, she would get 1 charge and 2 mel. So if she gets a charge, she gets her orange fire charges, and she can have up to 5 of them. So that's how you get charges, there is another way to get one by sacrificing something at Elderkin Arc, one of the locations in Junkyard Juggernauts, but the main ways you get them are through doing heroic feats and then leveling up your specialization. So if she did another heroic feat, okay, she leveled up again, so she gets a 2nd charge. Awesome. So let's say she has 2 charges now. That's great. What do you use them for? Well, there are some abilities on these specializations that use the charges, but for the most part, you'll be using them in combat. So I'm not going to build out a whole Juggernaut here, but let's assume this is built out. It has some metal in it, and go back and watch the Juggernaut torso video. Toward the end of that, I build out a Juggernaut and we look at a proper build and whatnot. But that's what that might look like. But let's say you have your Juggernaut gem built out, and you're in combat against, and we'll just put this guy to the side, you're in combat against this headstone Junk Golem. He wouldn't actually be placed here, it'd be somewhere else on the board, but because of the minimum space I have to show you guys, this is where we're going to have him. So we're facing this headstone Junk Golem, and he also is built out with limbs, like he has a leg, and we'll do a video on these Junk Golems later, but he has arm here, arm there, what have you. Okay, so pretend he's built out as well. Now, in combat, you have a few options for how to use these charges. The first option, I think that is probably the easiest to do right out the gate, is to do a focus charge. And by doing a focus charge action, this takes a whole action, so you won't get to attack. Also, this is your command. Okay, my action for my turn as the attacker is a focus charge. So what you can choose to do is activate for Saffron, it's burn charges. And we'll go through what all the different effects are for these characters. What they are is always at the bottom underneath the charges, but for Saffron, It's activate your burn charges. That's her type of charges on your Juggernaut or your arms. So let's say we're going to take one turn to activate. We'll do both. You can do any. You don't have to do them all, but we'll do both. So we're going to activate both charges and put them into our Juggernaut's name. All right, awesome. We have charges there. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so what that means is now our speed and attack strength are increased by the number of charges times the number of limbs you have. So for attack strength, if we have 2 charges and we have both limbs functional, both arms functional, then it's 2 times 2, we get +4 to our attack strength. Same with speed. If we have 2 legs and 2 charges here, and they just sort of stay there until you remove them. They don't go anywhere until you remove them, or some other effect happens. Hey, Stacy. As long as they're there, you get now 2 charges times 2 legs that are operable. That's 4. So you get +4 to your speed. So a way to boost your overall attack strength and speed, because really the max attack strength and the max speed you could ever have without these is 20 each. But with these, you could have a max of, if you have all these filled in, it'd be a max of 28. So, which would be a lot more than just 20. You can math, you know this. So that is one way to use charges, is to boost your overall attack strength and speed. I will say, if let's say your left arm was destroyed, then these would only count for, essentially it'd be 2 times 1, because you only have one arm, your right arm left. So they'd be +2 to your attack strength. But if you still have both legs, it'd be still +4 to your speed, because you have 2 and 2 legs. All right. So that's also just a little visual tell. You can see that this is, okay, there's a little plus symbol for these. So plus goes into here, plus goes into here. And on this side, plus to here, plus here. So if you want to do it this way, you could be like, okay, 2 here. So I got +2 to here, +2 to here, +2 to here, +2. I mean, it's just easier to do the multiplication, but you do it however you like. Anyway, that's one way to use charges. Okay, let's bring them back to Saffron. For this example, I'm going to add an arm here. Okay, so let's say Saffron has this arm on her Juggernaut. Okay, it's back to Saffron's turn. She's still finding this junk golem. She's going to use a focus charge, but this time, instead of putting it on her Juggernaut, she's going to put it on her arm. So she's going to put it right here. There's a little charge spot. It's hard to see in the light, but there's a little charge icon on all the arms. So we're going to put it right there. All right, that's my whole turn. I just spent my turn to put my burn charge on my arm. That's a way of making it so that now if I do damage with my attack strength, this burn charge will get transferred over to my enemy. Bloop. My opponent. That is if the damage carries over. If they dispel it with a potion, let's say this guy has a potion and dispels my attack, then it doesn't get through. Then this essentially goes back to my available charges, and that whole one turn I had to put on my arm is wasted. So you want to make sure that you're not going to encounter many potions if you do this. There are other ways to get the charges directly from your Mageneer onto your opponent through amplify effects, but this is sort of the rudimentary way of doing it. So one turn, focus charge, get it on my arm. Second turn, I'm gonna, let's say, do a total attack my opponent, in this case this headstone junk golem, and let's say my damage of 1 gets through, and so my burn charge gets put on to my opponent. Awesome. Now in this case, when it's up here in my torso, they're considered positive charges. When they're on your opponent, they're considered negative charges. Okay, so what can we do what do these negative charges do? Let's say he has this negative charge and maybe Riviera's negative charge. So what? What does that do if your opponent has negative charges on them? Well, For Saffron, if we read down here, it says a burned Juggernaut or a burned torso. That's what the little guy thing means, a torso, which this is considered a torso. This is considered a torso. So if it has a burn charge on it in a negative faction, then whoever has the negative status effect of burned will get -1 metal per charge per action. So whenever this junk golem or whoever the opponent is that has a burn, the negative charge on it, if they have burn, when they take an action, so if they attack me, they will instantly lose 1 metal per charge. So let's say I was able to get 2 burn charges on them. They attack me, they just take 2 metal damage. They can't do anything about it. They just take that damage. So that's something that's great. That's a good way to bleed an opponent of their life, because they're going to want to take actions to deal with you, but every time they do, they're feeling those burns. Oh man, it hurts to act. Okay, so that's be Saffron's charges. Now let's say you're playing as Riviera, and okay, we have a Riviera. Let's say she got this rust charge on the junk golem. Rusted torsos have this status effect: disable 1 limb per negative charge for each action. So again, every time this guy takes an action, let's say he has, I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit. Let's say he has this arm. Okay, he has 3 limbs, but let's say that's one of his arms. He takes an action and he's going to disable his lowest metal limb. And let's say this one was it. So he would disable that in addition to taking his 3 burns or his 2 burns. So that would be, so that is the rusted effect though that Riviera has, is that every time they take an action, and let's say it was 2 rust charges, then they'd have to disable 2 limbs each time they take an action. So those could be very effective because disabled limbs can be destroyed right away, and they can't be used for anything. So that's the rust effect from Riviera. Let's clear those. Then, Paul, what image are you sending me? Let's see what this is here. I don't know if I'll be able to show on screen, but burn. So Paul just sent the Kelso burn gif, which is classic for a Saffron's burn ability for sure. All right, now let's say you're playing as Malcolm and you're able to get a Envenom. So Envenom or Venom is his status effect. So a torso with Venom on it would be Envenomed. So an Envenomed torso has, and this is a little probably hard to read, but attack strength is this icon. So your attack strength is -1d6 per charge each action you take. So let's say this guy's attacking me. He's attacking me for 4 attack strength. He has 4 metal in his 2 arms. So he's going to have to roll a d6. He rolls a 6. 4 minus 6 is -2. So he's not going to take damage, but essentially his attack is null. And he's going to do that each time. So it's his turn again. He's doing maybe 3 damage this time. We got a hit on him. So now 3 damage minus 1. Okay, so now he'll only do 2 damage to me. So it's this effect of like, you have this venom coursing through your veins. Sometimes it makes you feel woozy. Sometimes you're okay. You're attacking, but not your full capacity. It's always going to be at least -1 from your attack strength, or more if you have more venom effects. Let's see if I can draw. Nope, no greens in there. Where are you, greens? Okay, let's see. He has 2. Let's see. He has 2 venom effects on him. Then he'd roll 2 die. Okay, so now his attack strength would be -3 this time. And he does that each time the opponent takes an action if they have these, the green Envenom status effects / negative charges on them. So that's Malcolm's effect. Finally, we have, it is the one and only PaulGPirates.com. It is. Okay, finally we have Hobart for his charges and what they do. So let's say we have he gets to start off with a charge, which is kind of nice. Just start the game off. That's why he only has 3 charge spots though, because he gets to start with 1. But when he is able to get a charge onto an opponent and it becomes a negative charge to them, they become shocked. So his status effect is shock. So a shocked torso gets -2 to their attack strength and speed per charge. So they don't have a metal reduction, but whatever their attack strength and speed would be, that is reduced by 2 per charge. So if you have 1 charge on here, let's say they have their attack strength for this junk golem is 5 across its 2 arms. Its effective attack strength would actually be 3 minus 2. Let's say we got 2 charges on this guy, 2 negative shock charges. Then they would have -4 attack strength, -4 speed. Again, not reducing their metal, so they still have essentially the HP part of their metal, but not the vitality part, the part that gives them attack strength and speed. So that's how a shocked status of negative charge status effect would work on an opponent. Lastly, we're going to go over the junk golems. Actually, no, we have the Warlord and the junk golems. We'll sort of do these 2 together because they're somewhat related. Okay, so we'll go here, get these guys off. We'll flip this guy over since we're talking about, whoa, there it goes. We're talking about Warlord and Warmog and whatnot. So let's talk about the Warlord. So the Warlord, the number of charges the Warlord will get will be determined by the Warlord power multiplier. We won't go into that right now, but let's say you find the Warlord right away and he only gets 1 charge. Okay, so then he would have 1 blood charge. That's what his charges are called on his to be able to use when he's fighting. If he gets the blood charge on let's say he's fighting Hunk. So the Warlord's fighting Hunk with his Warmock, and he is able to get a charge onto Hunk here. So now Hunk has a negative blood charge status effect. What that allows the Warlord to do is for his 2 main actions, Barrage and Vampiric Embrace, or Vampiric Clutch, excuse me, that gives bonuses for us. So for Barrage, usually when you attack, you get a reduction in your attack strength, depending on if it's the first or second target. If your target has a blood charge on it, there's no reduction. You do your full attack strength against the target. And then if you do Vampiric Clutch, usually you would do whatever damage you do, you get half of that back as metal, as increasing your life. But if there's a blood charge on the opponent you're attacking, so this Hunk character, you get all the damage you do, you get that back as metal for life. So it's behooves you as the Warlord to get blood charges out on the Mageneers you plan to attack. But let's say you want to keep them available because you're trying to do a Twisted Temptation reaction. So you take damage, but you're like, you know what? You did some damage to me, Mageneer, but you know what? You're not looking so hot. How about you come to my team? So you would essentially take your number of charges that you have available when they're here, or on the Mageneers again. When they're in this section of your card, they are available. So an available charge for this Twisted Temptation, you're going to roll 1d6. So let's take a die. We're going to roll it. We rolled a 1. All right. Well, this temptation the Warlord spin out is essentially 1 plus 1 charge, so 2. So the Mageneer that attacked them would have to decide, do I take 2 metal damage or do I join the Warlord and get 2 metal of life? I wonder what decision they'll pick. But let's say they rolled a 6. Then you're looking at 7 damage you're taking. Or if they have 3 charges, 10 damage you're taking. Is that worth it to stay on your own team? You could potentially die, or do you join the Warlord and fight with them? So that's how the Warlord uses charges. In addition, the Junk Golems, which you'll face a lot sooner than the Warlord, so I probably should have started with that first. They will use charges for their specials. So and again, we'll go over that when we go over let me do an overview of the junk golems, but each of them have a special, and they use these blood charges for that. So that is the charges for your Mageneers when they're available, when they're positive in your Juggernauts, and adds to your attack strength and speed, or when it's negative charges on your opponent that gives them whatever status effect you have for your Mageneer. That's what happens. That's how you use your charges. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Do you have a status effect that sounds really cool? Like, yeah, I really want to envenom my targets with venom. Or, man, that rusted ability sounds really epic. Hopefully I get Riviera next time I play. Or do you want to Kelso people and go burn to them? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this. And let me know if you have any more questions. Maybe this made you think of something else about charges that you want answered. Would love to answer those. Let me know. And check out more at firejoystudios.com. And until next time, remember, I'm not the Warlord. Godspeed, Mageneers. Bye. Bob says, so what you're saying is you put your left arm in, you take your left arm out, put your left arm in, and you metal all about. Exactly. You do the Juggernauts and you turn them, and you do the Junkyard Juggernauts, turn them all around. Then you take out the Warlord. I mean, it writes itself, but it's the perfect song. Oh my goodness, Bobo.